Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of today's Best Stock Picks. And the question of the day for Monday, September 21st is, has the market finally cracked? Did the euphoria that we had in August really run out of gas and start to see the market come back to reality, start to see the global situation that we're in wake us up again? Look, there's plenty of opportunities to be looking to buy right now. We're going to actually go through a few of them. There was a few stocks that traded incredible relative strength last week. We're going to start out today looking at the Dow Jones, though, and see what the potential situation is right now. The futures are actually trading much lower, but that doesn't mean we don't have opportunity. It doesn't mean that we're absolutely heading down. It does mean that we're pointing down now, though. As we mentioned last week on Friday, the first time the market cracks, or even any individual stocks crack after a significant bullish run, those first attempts to the downside, those first attempts to short sell and make money on the way down typically fail. So in other words, you have this really nice move to the upside, you roll over, you kind of pause a little bit, and then you boop, dip down a little bit, and everybody's like, yeah, let's get in there, let's ride the short sale down, let's get out of our longs, let's look in the other direction. Typically that move does not follow through. However, we're in anything but a typical world right now, anything but a typical market right now, because of the pandemic, because of the stimulus package, because of the election that's going on now. So if you're sitting home watching right now and saying, I don't understand why my support didn't hold, it stopped at the moving average, wake up. This is a really different world we're living in right now. This is not just trading off the charts. We have to trade what we see and read the tape to set up ideas. But we're not just saying, oh, look, it's at the 20-period moving average, and I see a nice candlestick there, it's going to reverse. You really got to be on top of your game right now, which this is the most important thing I could possibly say today, is that means that you really need to work your orders. It really means you need to pay attention to those stock-specific and industry-specific ideas that have the attention of the smart money, the attention of bigger volume type moves where they're holding it from 9:30 to 4 o'clock. They're holding it from Monday through Friday, and you're seeing follow through. Those are the things that we're going to look for. And if you watch today's Stocks for Breakfast video where we discussed my favorite trading scan, I actually walk you through how to do that. We're also going to take a look at Apple today and see, is it possible to today, actually, to even today or tomorrow, to be buying Apple at $100? Something that really wasn't on the table at all pre-split. But again, we're in an unusual market. But I want to make this very clear. I get asked a few times in the boot camp, oh, is this the good time to trade? Oh, is this the perfect time to trade? Oh, why am I trading when it's tough? I got news for you. It's always tough. It's never going to be the perfect conditions for you to get in there and make money. So if you want to learn how to trade, you have to trade. You have to trade now. There's no perfect time. Although maybe August was really amazing, now those traders that were just relying on the market bailing them out and didn't actually learn how to trade, didn't use a stop loss, didn't work hard to find good ideas, didn't work hard to understand how to set profit targets, they're in a world of hurt right now because they didn't pay attention. And if you're a regular viewer of the channel, I know that you're disciplined, and I know you have that burning desire to be a better trader than just waiting for the market to bail you out. So let's get started. Let's take a look at the Dow. Let's see what potential we have. If, in fact, it does crack a little bit, we're going to take a look at some longs. We're going to take a look at a few possible shorts, including Apple and Amazon, believe it or not. And let's get over to the charts. If you have any questions, by the way, leave me some feedback. I'd love to hear from you. And definitely subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. If you want to trade together, click down and learn about the boot camp too. All right, so let's head over and we're going to take a look. You see, we're going to start out with the Dow. And what's interesting now, off of the low, now, I usually watch the S&P 500, but the Dow is pretty interesting because it is the general index that most retail traders focus on. And you can see that we're teetering right on the brink of a change of trend coming out of this potential change of trend. So if you watch the channel, you know how I do it. We're basically looking at a potential change of trend when we break a significant trend line. So this right now is actually a potential change of trend. However, you can see the S&P futures are down big. They were actually down much bigger before, which again, that's kind of leading credence to what I said before about it's that first move to the downside that doesn't typically stick. But look at this gap. We're talking about 26,000 if the market comes in is the next support for the Dow. That's got some room to go. So again, if you're a stock picker, if you're a trader, if you love the market, you have to know what's perfect and what's not perfect to be a buyer in. And as I've been saying, the very least that we want to see is well bid candlesticks closing on the high so we can get a little bit more comfort. One stock that is interesting that has been, we've been saying, taken out to the woodshed is OSTK. And last week we said it's consolidating. You can call it whatever you want, pennant, a triangle, a wedge, whatever name you want to give it. All I know is that when price expands and then starts to contract, you usually get an expansion in volatility coming out of that. And it looks like the stock is starting to bottom out, not quite ready to jump in there, but it did close well bid on a day that the market was weak, closed near the highs with higher highs and higher lows. Obviously has a ton of room to go. Even a 50% retracement takes it into the 95 area, which is another $20. So I'm going to be watching that one today to set up a potential new swing trade. I want to discuss two stocks that are differing in how they're trading right now. First is DraftKings. We've been constantly looking at this one. We've been trading it actively every single day. Hopefully you've been joining us. You can see here on the charts, well bid for the most part, closing above the open for the most part, all of last week actually, which is very impressive. I had news, the NFL starting again, National Football League. So what's the next trade? Again, I'm going to give the same scenario that I gave on Friday. I am not adding a new swing trade here. I am looking for the stock to pause, pull back, consolidate, lighter volume, indecision, maybe even close on the lows for a couple of days, then look to initiate a new swing trade. Will I day trade the stock? Sure. If the stock opens lower, trades above the open because it's at all-time highs, absolutely, but not looking to do swing trade. So this needs to be in your watch list for the next week or so. PENN is a little bit different story. PENN, I think, actually topped out. It topped out on much heavier volume, had a really big bearish U-turn. I think the stock is going to pull back a little bit because it got a little bit extended, and now you can see it wasn't as clean as DraftKings, and I can't believe I'm saying that because DraftKings was kind of like in that window it couldn't get out of. So I'm looking for both of them to pull back. If I had to choose between the two, the way they're trading right now, I'd be leaning a little bit more towards DraftKings because it held the bid a little bit better last week. But I want to be clear. I like both of them long. I just want to work the order a little bit slower in PENN because of the heavier volume reversals. And you can see there's a lot of indecision candlesticks here where they opened and closed in the same spot. And that's not really showing strong, even though it went higher and it was getting these upgrades, not strong commitment from one day to the next, where we're not seeing big green closing on the high, big green closing on the high. We're actually seeing the opposite of that. We're seeing indecision. So that's the reason I'm reading between the lines, reading the tape a little bit. I do like it long. The one that's interesting that kind of is the same scenario, or at least it looks like, right? Last week we had what's known as an island top here and run, and going into Friday, I said we're looking at a top here. There's usually a very significant topping pattern, and that was before Friday's trading. And if you take a look a little deeper behind the lines, look at this volume spike. A massive volume spot like that after this momentum without an increase in price action typically means a reversal. So we're looking for reversal here and not getting involved in that one long anymore. DPHC actually is a slow mover, not showing consistency from opening to closing. However, it is showing relative strength. Now, I generally don't trade these stocks and generally don't talk about these stocks that were $10 for the longest time and they just exploded out of nowhere. But we did have a push and a pause and a push and a pause now, and especially last week. Although these candles aren't perfect, which would mean big green and closing near the highs and higher lows, it did show relative strength to what the market did last week. So I'm looking to initiate a new swing trade. My stop loss would be on a close below 28 on the daily chart. Be very clear what I said there, on a close below 28. PGR, another one that is peeking its head through all-time highs. So I'm looking to initiate a new swing trade. So Friday's high would be my entry, and Friday's low would be my stop loss. So being very clear there on that one. Lennar also showing some relative strength and coming out of 3 days of consolidation, also at a pretty big breakout level, right? You can see where we are up here. So I like this one on a break above 80.50. I don't want to get involved in this chop. I don't want to wait for just to get 80 and come back in. Set the alert, 80.50, get a entry at that price. Here's an interesting one. Out of all the financials, Citigroup did not rally last week like a few of them did. And as a matter of fact, it closed on the lows. And now we are looking at almost 3 days of consolidating. Not quite 3 inside days, but the stock has room to fall down to 39. So this week we could have a $5 decline in Citigroup. So it is one of the stocks I'm going to be looking to sell short this week. If you're not sure what selling short is, go down to Stocks for Breakfast. I did 2 videos on that last week, actually, as well. Our big daddy, Apple, look, I mean, that chart tells the story right there. The only saving grace that I have right now is the fact that, again, the first time these stocks break down, they generally don't follow through. Worst case for Apple right now would be if we close on the lows and we close well offered, it's a good chance we could hit 100. We might even hit 100 today. Long term, if you love the company, that's really not the worst thing in the world. We're actually just actively talking about trading the next, this week. But it's going to be interesting. The big level to watch in Apple today is Friday's low and today's opening price. That's going to give you the all the tape reading levels that you need, the significant reference points that you need to get involved there. AMD in a very similar situation, but you can see here again, AMD is actually showing exactly what I was talking about, where a stock has a reference point, breaks down, and doesn't stay there. Now, we closed on the lows on Friday. It looks like we're going to open up a little bit neutral, but I'm sure that's going to change when the market opens. It's going to be interesting. Again, we basically have 2 days worth of lows here and a lower opening today. So a push low, a rally, and then into those 2-day lows would be the real barometer. We might get a bullish U-turn that gives us a really clean day trade to the upside, but certainly not with order flow conviction. And the last one we're going to talk about today is Amazon. Believe it or not, Amazon was in this box for a while. Now it's traded to the bottom of the box. Look, Walmart is no joke. Walmart's been around a lot longer than Amazon. They're competing. Walmart Plus is in the universe now. Let's see what happens. It's not the same small fly-by-night company that's coming after them. Walmart's the real deal. They have the logistics. They have everything they need. It's a question of whether they can become the same digital behemoth that Amazon does, and that's going to change. Look, Amazon margins are really tight. Can they maintain those margins with a real competitor? Not what I think. Honestly, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're running a deli down the block, a pizzeria, or Amazon. If you're already running on tight margins and you get serious competition, that's going to hurt the bottom line. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I usually don't talk about fundamental type stuff like that, but that's entrepreneurial and business building stuff, and that stuff really gets my juices flowing. So we got a lot of stuff going on right now. We got some decent longs. OSTK is going to be interesting. If you've been watching last week, we had Codex. We started to build a long position in Codex, CODX. But we got some short sales too. And out of all of them, I really think Citigroup has the most potential, at least on Monday and Tuesday. Gosh, Amazon possibly hitting 100 in the first hour today. It's not out of the question, certainly within the next 2 days. But let's see if the buyers step back in. We're not saying we're heading down. Keep in mind what I said. First time you crack that move to the downside, it generally doesn't stay there. But again, wake up. We're not in a normal world right now, so you got to really be on top of your game. So hashtag trade like a pro. Let's go do it today, and let's have a great week.